Are you paying attention? Um, this is from India. Um, David Ogilvy was very fond of India, and in the video you're going to see, he talks about India. But first of all, I'd like you to imagine that you're in an unusual situation. You work for Ogilvy and Mather, and you've just been appointed as the head of one of our offices. And one of the first things that's going to happen to you is you're going to be given a little talk by David Ogilvy about how to run your business. I think you'll find it interesting, no matter what kind of business you've got. I hope you'll find it fairly amusing, and I hope you'll find it a pleasant little Christmas surprise. So watch as David gives his advice to you, his new office head.
I've got a new job, by the way. I'm awfully proud of it. I'm just been made the chairman of our Indian company. I don't know how much you know about our Indian company. Not much, I should think. You know how many people there are in India? 750 million. We have offices in 5 cities. We've got 300 people there. They're about the most intelligent, hard-working, professional and charming people I know in any of our offices. They're really fantastic. In New Delhi, in Calcutta, in Bombay, and so forth. Only 9, we're in 44 countries, saying only 9 countries make more profit than India. I bet that comes as a surprise to you. An extraordinary list of clients we have in India. We have Unilever and the great Indian house of Tata and Pond's. What the hell are you doing here? Pond's, Xerox, American Express, Brook Bond, Cadbury, Johnson & Johnson, General Foods. Mani Iyer is the managing director. He's a very remarkable man. He's been managing director since 1974. And since he became managing director in 1974, our billings have increased tenfold. He's one of the best heads of countries I've ever encountered. He's an inspiring leader and a man of great stature. He deals with our clients at that top level. He's a glutton for work. He's always on the road, constantly in motion from one office to another, firefighting, making presentations, counseling his people, raising our professional standards in all departments. It's a wonderful country from an agency point of view, India, especially for 2 reasons. First of all, every single account is on 15%. There ain't such things, anything except 15%. And secondly, there's nothing below the line. It doesn't exist. I'll tell you 2 things about India. There's an agency in India called Lintas. It used to belong to Unilever, you know. And guess who owns 40% of Lintas in India? You would never guess. Mother Teresa. Isn't that the damnedest thing? Wonderful. I'm told she complains she doesn't get enough dividends out of it. I just want to tell you one story about India, then I'll go on and talk about other things. The head of our office in Madras is a perfectly wonderful man called Chandru. He's a very kind man. He's driving through Madras the other day and stopped his car at a traffic light, and he looked out the window, and there, standing on the sidewalk, on the pavement, was a boy of about 18, crying. Tears were running down his cheeks. Chandru leaned out and said, "What's the matter?" And the boy said, "I'm hungry." And Chandru said, "Get in the back of the car." And he drove him to a restaurant, gave him a good meal. Then he thought, I can't just desert this boy, go back to starving. So he took him to the office, and he found work for him, washing cars and things like that. And that went on for 4 days, and then the boy disappeared, without trace, didn't leave a note. Well, the following day, Chandru was driving through Madras. He stopped his car at the same traffic light, and there was the boy, tears running down his cheeks. crying his eyes out. Chandler leaned out and expression of reproach said, "How could you do that to me?" And the boy said, "You advertise, I cry." It's two careers. I'm going to pretend that you're all heads of offices. And I'm going to talk to you about your job as a head of office. It's a focus which helps me. The first, and I think the most important duty of anybody who's head of an office is what? To get new business. You don't get any new business, you'll be out of gas one of these days, because you know no account is there forever. Sooner or later, your office will lose every account you've got. Now, hope it won't be for 40 or 50 years, but sooner or later you'll lose them. Accounts go for one reason or another, and you've got to replace them. And if you don't get new business, morale in your office will decay. I don't know why that is, but it is. If an agency goes through a long period without getting new business, the morale sinks. When I was the head of our New York office, once a year I used to call everybody into a theatre and tell them what had happened during the year. And I used to stand up there on the stage and look at them. And they all looked like baby birds waiting to be fed by me with new business. Their mouths were open like this. And if I hadn't got any worms to put in their mouths, I got a very wintry reception. I think that getting new business is the most undervalued function in Ogilvy and Mather. I don't think we give enough credit to the people who get our new business. I don't think we take it seriously enough. And if you're the head of your office, it's your job to get the new business. However important you may be, you cannot delegate it. You've got to do it yourself. You know, clients don't hire agencies. Most people think clients don't hire agencies. They don't. They hire individuals most of the time. They hire individuals who they like and who they'd like to have around and who they think have some brains and some talent. It's a much more personal thing than is generally acknowledged or even realized. I wonder, when I was head of our New York office, I used to get new business. I wrote a lot of advertising. Some of it was pretty good. But I also had time and the energy to bring in some new accounts. And if you look at our biggest accounts in the world today, they are, I think, American Express, Unilever, Shell, Sears, Roebuck, and General Foods. Well, I brought in all those accounts. I brought in the 5 biggest accounts that we've got today, and about 40 others. And I'm still at it. I'm 76, damn it. The other day I got a letter from a manufacturer in England. It's a strange letter. I'd never heard of this company. He said, "We saw you in a BBC television program about advertising. And then we read your last book. And we're absolutely amazed because we didn't know there was any agency man left who was interested in actually selling things." I found out later he always refers to agency men as mincing pansies. He said, "Can we ask your advice?" And I called him up on the telephone. I live in the middle of France. I said, "I'm damned if I come to Yorkshire to give advice, but if you'd like to come see me, I'll give you all the advice you want." So he came to see me, and he spent the night, and we talked about 4 in the morning. And I gave him some good advice. And I sent him to see Ogilvy and Mather direct in London, Drayton Bird. And Drayton got that account, and it came out of J. Walter Thompson. It then billed $5 million. No, it billed about $10 million. And now, less than 1 year later, it bills $21 million. Is Drayton on the program, Drayton Bird, to come and talk to you? Has he done it yet? What? There is one of the ablest men in our outfit. And I just say this to you. You have a lot to learn from our direct people. Because, you see, they really know what happens when advertising runs. And the rest of these people have the faintest idea. They fire off a campaign and you say, "Well, is it a successful campaign?" And they say, "Well, it's a little too early to tell." That means no. Okay? But then a year later, the sales had gone up, so they said, you're damn right it was a successful campaign. Look at the sales. They don't know whether it was the advertising or not. Maybe they have tracking studies. They got them. But these direct response people, they know to a penny what the results are, and they're realists. I personally don't think, if I were running an agency today, and I'm not, I wouldn't hire anybody, I wouldn't let anybody go to work in a general agency until they'd spent at least 1 year in direct, got their feet on the ground, and learned to sell. This new business thing is pretty damned important. And some of our heads of office are very inert and supine about it. They don't really go after it, and when they do, they make lousy presentations. New business. Are you running house ads in your country? And if no, why the hell not? Are you bombarding your prospects with direct mail? You ought to be. Are you getting a lot of publicity for the agency? You ought to be. Have you written any books? I've written 4. Ken Roman's written 2, and that brings clients. Believe me, that's why I write them. One thing in your pursuit of new business, don't go around making speeches. It's a complete waste of time. My only quarrel with Drayton Bird, he's always swanning off to make speeches. I used to do it. It flattered my ego, you know. But it's a total waste of time. I tell you how I found this. I used to go to our first office outside New York was Toronto. And I used to go up to Toronto and make speeches at universities, press conferences, all that jazz. And I thought the new business would roll in. Nothing ever happened. Since then, I've made more speeches than I care to admit in various parts of the world. And nothing ever happens. It's a total and absolute waste of time. I don't know if any of you actually got to the stage in your career when people invite you to make speeches. When you do, refuse. Don't do it. Either go and play golf or stay in bed or work in the office, but don't waste time making speeches.